Welcome into Locked On Phillies, a wild walk-off win for the Phillies yesterday against the Dodgers, and a big week of NL East games coming up. All of that on today's episode of Locked On Phillies.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I'm your host, Connor Thomas. Been talking Phillies baseball for years over on 97.5 The Fanatic. Now happy to be here with you as your host of Locked On Phillies. And I want to thank you, as always, for making us your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. A big walk-off win for the Philadelphia Phillies yesterday, but it did not come easy against the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Phillies already losing the series to the Dodgers after the first two games of the series went LA's way. And then the Phillies go out and, well, they have Zach Eflin on the mound, and they have a chance to steal a game before they head on an NL East road trip. And, well, as you know by now, they were able to do it. Just what a finish. We're going to get right into breaking down how they got there. Well, the Dodgers jumped out early. They scored runs in the third and fourth inning. Mookie Betts on a homer, Rios on a homer, and those innings respectively. And all of a sudden, it's 2-0 Dodgers. Those solo homers, though, were the only times that Zach Eflin really got hurt. He was outstanding in this one. Unbelievable. He deserved the win. He did not get it, unfortunately, because the game went into extras and he had long been out of the game by that point. But just listen to this pitching line from Eflin. 7 innings pitched. Only 4 hits allowed. Now, 2 of those were those solo home runs we just talked about. So 2 runs, both earned, 2 walks, but 12 strikeouts. Are you kidding me? What a K performance from Zach Eflin. 106 pitches. And it was just, it was masterful. He had everything working. He had the breaker working. He had his 2-seam running back off the outside corner to right. He's working. Like, he was unbelievable the way that he was throwing the baseball yesterday. And unfortunately, it looked like when he was removed from the game that, well, he was going to be saddled with the loss. The Phillies did score in this bottom of the 6th inning to get on the board before Eflin was relieved. But then after a scoreless 7th, well, it was time for him at 100-plus pitches to get out of that. The run scored, though, bears mentioning. Garrett Stubbs, who's been unbelievable in backup roles, mainly the backup role behind JT Realmuto. Garrett Stubbs hit his first career home run. And how about this one? It was not a cheap one. 406 feet to straightaway right center. Is that an expression? Straightaway right center? It was like right in the middle of center and right. One of the deeper parts of the ballpark. And it got out for the Phillies to cut the lead to 1. But Eflin's day was done, and then the Phillies would have to go ahead and try and take advantage of the Dodgers bullpen. Well, Gene Segura singled to left field in the bottom of the 9th inning to score Nick Castellanos, move Kyle Schwarber up to second. JT Realmuto had a chance to be a hero there, but unfortunately, a strikeout. And more on JT Realmuto a little bit later in this one. Then in the top of the 10th, the Phillies-Dodgers going extras, tied at 2. Well, Trey Turner singled to right field. Mookie Betts scored. And Freddie Freeman moved up to 3rd on that one. The Phillies worked out of it. Corey Knebel worked out of a bit of a jam there to hold the Dodgers to only 1 run, especially with the ghost runner starting on 2nd that they're still doing in Major League Baseball. Man, that was big. But then in the bottom of the 10th, all hell broke loose for the home 9. So you expect, well, okay, they're already down 1. They got to score here. Listen, I'll tell you, we went into extra innings in my beer league softball league, and we didn't score in the bottom of an inning to tie it up with underhand pitching. It's not easy. It's not a guarantee that the Phillies are going to score, even with a runner on 2nd. Well, Garrett Stubbs started things off in the bottom of the 10th, reaching on an infield single to shortstop. But there was an issue. JT Realmuto, who was the ghost runner, well, he went to third base. He beat the throw to third base. And then for some reason, he thought the ball had gotten past the Dodgers third baseman. And why can I not remember? Oh, Turner, my fault. There's too many Turners on this damn Dodgers team. He thought the ball had gotten by the third baseman and just stepped off of third base like he was heading towards home, and it was just tagged out right there. So for Justin Turner to be able to pull that trick, I don't even know that he was pulling a trick, because I saw someone say it was like a hidden ball trick. I don't think it was that, fake, they might have thrown it by me, I'm going to pretend like I didn't find the ball. I think it was just a high throw that Turner had to go get, and something JT Realmuto saw said go, and he stepped off third and got tagged out, being the tying run right there with no outs. Terrible mistake on a terrible day for JT Realmuto. Luckily for the Phillies, though, it did not end there. You got one out in that situation with Garrett Stubbs now on first base. Then Johan Camargo strikes out, and you have 2 outs. Well, Roman Quinn comes up with 2 outs and slaps a single to right field. He's able to go ahead and move up to second on the throw. Garrett Stubbs going to third, just beating the throw out there from right field. So Garrett Stubbs draws the throw, beats it. Roman Quinn now in scoring position at second, and Alec Bohm at the plate. What happens next? Well, if you haven't seen the highlights yet, let me explain it to you in unbelievable fashion. Alec Bohm, with 2 outs on him, rolls over on a breaking ball that was low and outside of the zone. He had to really throw his hands and reach it getting out there, but he hits it softly to Max Muncy at second base. And what does Muncy do? He boots it. It hits off his glove. It hits off his foot. It rolls through his legs. He goes back to get it. He doesn't have a play at first. And Roman Quinn, who's the fastest guy on this team, might have a claim for fastest man in Major League Baseball. He's up there with like the Byron Buxtons of the world. He just never stopped running, rounds third, scores on the throw from Max Muncy with a beautiful headfirst slide that barely beats the tag. And just like that, the Philadelphia Phillies win on a walk-off ground 2 RBI. It wasn't actually RBIs, but a walk-off 2-run ground ball to second base that turns into an error. Like, that is, obviously we're in May. We're not in the situation where the other one happened, but that is Bill Buckner-esque from Muncy, and he's got to be devastated. He was distraught on the field after, head in his hands, but the Phillies were celebrating, going home happy. Corey Knebel gets the win after working out of a jam in the top of the 10th, and just like that, the Phillies take one from the Dodgers. And you know what? That's a huge momentum win. There were a lot of bad things that happened in that game. Alec Bohm's defense throwing a ball away to first base that should have been an easy out that allowed the Dodgers, to get in the situation to score an extending run or put the Phillies more in trouble. Like, he had issues. JT Realmuto had a terrible game, not good at the plate, not good on the base pass. And that was just him pinch hitting and running and everything like that. Like, it was just not a good effort from JT Realmuto whatsoever on that one. And he's had a couple better games recently. He's had better opportunities to hit the ball, and he's taken advantage, but just really messed up on Sunday's game. And he got bailed out. Frankly, he got bailed out. It was a game in which he went over 1 with that strikeout we were talking about, and he was able to go ahead and run because he was inserted in the game as a pinch hitter, and he went to first base. Oh, I didn't even mention, he goes to first base and makes a costly error in the field at first base. It was not a good day for JT Realmuto. But, hey, the Phillies found a way to win one of the more improbable games that you'll see them win this year. And not a huge comeback, but just the fashion in which they won it. That's the type of thing where you can, especially ending a series in a getaway game where you're traveling down to Atlanta, you can build momentum by winning games that way, by winning games that you shouldn't, by winning on walk-offs, by having the emotional victory. That's like you rush to the plane to get to the airport, or you rush to the airport to get on the plane, rather. You can't get on the plane without going to the airport first, Connor. But you rush there because you're excited to get down to Atlanta and play the next baseball game, because what a fun win for the Phillies when everything was all said and done. It wasn't fun while it was happening, but as the dust settled around Roman Quinn at home plate, an umpire calling him safe, that sure was fun. It was a party in the afternoon at Citizens Bank Park. So a nice win. Plenty of issues with this team still. The offense, still questions where you had a guy throw a 4-hitter with 12 strikeouts and you had to go to extras to win it. Like, that's an issue. But that's just a deep sigh of relief that they actually stole one and they came out with the victory, which is the only thing that matters. But the stretch that they're about to go on here, the next 7 games, are paramount. Coming up next, I'm going to talk to you about how this stretch could not win them or lose them the division, but definitely make it harder for them to compete. And we're only in May. It's a huge stretch of 7 games. And I'll tell you all about who they're playing, what their matchups are, and if the Phillies can pull it off next. First, though, I want to tell you about Built Bar. I love brownies, but you know what I love more? Brownie batter. It's even better before it's cooked. And guess what? Now you can eat brownie batter and help get you in shape. Yeah, that's a real thing in the real world. Like in reality, that's a thing. You're in luck if you want to do that too, because Built has a new creation, the brownie batter puff. So puffs, if you're not familiar, they're Built Bar's protein-infused marshmallows covered in 100% real chocolate. The flavoring is incredible. It tastes so good. It doesn't taste like a protein bar. They taste amazing. And this new brownie batter puffs that they have, oh, it's so good. It literally tastes like you're eating a brownie. That's helping you get in shape for the summer. Only 140 calories, 17 grams of protein, and only 7 grams of sugar. It's the perfect pick-me-up for any day. And it all tastes great, and it's used with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently, provides tons of health benefits. I want you to go check out the brownie batter puffs from our friends over at Built Bar to help you get set up and get in shape for the summer. Go to Built.com to get your brownie batter puffs now, and I'll even cut you a deal. You go to Built.com and you use the promo code LOCK15, you can get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com. All right, so it's time to take a look at the upcoming week for the Philadelphia Phillies. It's Monday, and tonight, well, they'll start a 4-game series down in Atlanta with the Braves. They follow that up with a 3-game series with the New York Mets in New York at Citi Field. So they go from Truist Park down Atlanta to Citi Field over this next week, and 7 games in division. That's huge. That's a huge stretch. Their next divisional game after this stretch, 1, 2, 3, 4 series away. Now, those are easier. They get Miami and Washington down there in June, but they don't see the Mets again until August after this. Like, that's tough to catch them if you're not playing them head-to-head with the Phillies getting hot. Let me just tell you about the division standings real quick. Right now, the Mets are up 8 games on both the Braves and the Phillies. The Braves and Phils currently tied for second. The Marlins only 8.5 games back of the Mets, so they're right in the chase too. And the Nationals are 13.5 games back. They're, for all intents and purposes, out of it because we know the talent level that they have on that team down there in Washington. Not really a competitive team this season. But you listen to that middle of the pack. First, you play Atlanta for 4 games. You're tied with them in second right now. You can fully assert yourself as the second best team in the division. Now, you can't win the division. You can't lock yourself in, but it's a big step in the right direction if you were to take 3 of 4 or even a 4-game sweep of Atlanta. That would make a huge difference, obviously, to the standing in the NL East. And then you'd have momentum going into 3 games in New York with the Mets where, hey, you win 4 against Atlanta, or let's just say you win 3 against Atlanta, 2 against New York. That's 5 games picked up total on NL East opponents, and it'll be at least 2 picked up on the New York Mets, and possibly more than that, depending on how they play in their series ahead of meeting with the Phillies. So you've got to look at it and just seeing who the Phillies have going on the mound. Well, they have a chance with some of these matchups. You have Zach Wheeler going tonight in Game 1 against the Atlanta Braves. You have Kyle Gibson in Game 2, Ranger Suarez in Game 3, Nola in Game 4. Those are your 4 best pitchers. You get the 4 best against Atlanta, and you could start the season series against them in great fashion. Now, I don't love Zach Eflin going against the New York Mets if I had my pick, even though he had an outstanding outing on Sunday. If I had my pick, I'd pick one of the other 4. I think they have a higher ceiling than Zach Eflin. But he gets Cookie Carrasco, who's a beatable pitcher at this point in his career to face off against. Then Zach Wheeler goes against Taijuan Walker. And even though Walker's been good against the Phillies in his 2 previous starts, well, the one he had an injury, the other one he was very good in. Well, Zach Wheeler is incredible. He knows his Mets lineup because he was there. He knows his Mets team. And he doesn't know all of the players, but still, you have a little bit of added juice when you're playing against a former team. So that's what he's looking at. And then the series ender, which is, looks like Sunday Night Baseball, I believe. Yeah, 7 p.m. Sunday game in New York against the Mets. Kyle Gibson is the listed starter for the Phillies as he comes back around. No starter listed yet for the Mets. They're still trying to figure out what they're doing with the absence of Max Scherzer now with the, was it oblique or back injury, the Jacob deGrom issue that he's still been dealing with. So you might get a bullpen game, something like that. You might get a minor league starter. We don't know who's going to throw for the Mets yet in that game, but an opportunity there. So Wheeler matches up against the tough guy in the Mets series, and the other 2, hey, they're gettable. the Phillies are going to have to hit. But the other good news is the Phillies have been really good away from home, which it's honestly like normally when you go on a road trip for any sport, it's like, okay, this is a tough stretch. We got to go play 7 games away from home. The Phillies, I don't know what they're doing at Citizens Bank Park, but they're significantly better on the road this year, just to start. And still, there's a lot of season left, and that could obviously change around depending on how they play when the weather changes here in Philadelphia. It was 96, by the way, Saturday. It's starting to get hot here in Philadelphia. But they've been better on the road this year. Maybe there's something mentally with that they can go down to Atlanta and win a series and go up to New York and win a series. Really, the Phillies have won 2 of their last 3 series. Okay? So we can go ahead and take a look at that and they have not. I forgot about the Padres series. They've won 2 of their last 4 series, though. So they haven't been like on a terrible, terrible slide. The offense was just very quiet here at Citizens Bank Park. But luckily, they get to head down south where the weather's a little bit warmer and maybe take advantage of some Atlanta Braves pitching that has allowed them only to be second place in the division and still has them below 500 and see what they could take advantage of. Let's just take a peek real quick at the Atlanta Braves and this matchup with them as the Philadelphia Phillies get ready for the game tonight. Because I know we're previewing this series. I do just want to preview tonight's game as we get ready for a 7:20 matchup. Here's what I don't understand real quick. A quick aside. What's with, like, the Phillies start their games at 6:45 and the Braves start their games at 7:20 in the same time zone, and the Mets start their games at like 7 o'clock. Like, what's with the different times of first pitch? Just everyone decide. And the 6:45 first pitch is better. That's just me. That's just me ranting a little bit. But the matchup, Tucker Davidson versus Zach Wheeler. Let's see the tail of the tape. Well, Zach Wheeler's 2-3 with a 3.49 ERA, a 1.14 WHIP, and 38 2/3 innings pitched. Tucker Davidson, 1-0, a 5.87 ERA with a 1.7 WHIP, but he's only thrown 7 2/3 innings. He's not gotten many starts so far this year. A lefty who the Phillies don't hit all that well. I'd rather see, or actually, I lied. I'd rather see them face lefties. They hit lefties well. They don't hit righties well for whatever reason, which is weird. Lefties are normally tougher to see, but I guess it's because of the right-handed bats that are littered throughout this lineup. The JT Realmutos, the Gene Segura, the Rhys Hoskins, the Nick Castellanos. And you have more good right-handed bats than you have left-handed bats. So the Phillies can absolutely take advantage of a Tucker Davidson start tonight for Atlanta. Looking at some of the numbers put up for some of these offensive players, Kyle Schwarber leading the Philadelphia Phillies in home runs so far. He's got 10 on the year, despite only hitting a little bit above 200. He's got 10 homers, and he's starting to get hot. Had another one in the Dodgers series. So maybe this is going to be a breakout road trip for Kyle Schwarber. Marcell Ozuna has 8 to lead the Braves, 2 less than what Schwarber has. Bryce Harper batting 295. He's back in the lineup, joined back in with the team in the Dodgers series while he had been in the dugout. You saw a cool video of him trading hats with a fan earlier in that series, but he's come back from getting the PRP injection. He's batting 295 to lead in batting average. Matt Olson is leading the Braves in batting average. He's only batting 242. That team is struggling offensively, and they're trying to work that out. But a lot of teams across baseball really are. And then leading in RBIs, Bryce Harper has 27 to Marcell Ozuna's 20. The Phillies offense has just been better than the Braves offense so far this year. Now, they have the same exact record, so who knows how long that'll hold. Both teams are under 500 by 1 game in the given scenario. So the Phils are 8-9 in away games. The Braves are 10-11 in home games. So really, this is as even of a matchup as you can really get. There are strengths and weaknesses on both sides, but the Phillies need to come out and they need to fight and claw their way to another win and a series win ultimately. And it starts tonight with that matchup. Now, on the other side, we have off the poll. Got to respond to our poll question that I posted on our Twitter account about, well, how Joe Girardi wants to handle the lineup. And I want to see how you all responded to that poll I put out. So we'll bring that up as we wrap up this episode of Locked On Phillies. And make sure you're tuned in tonight for Locked On Nows. I'm going to give you my Locked On Now following their game with the Atlanta Braves when that one's all finalized. Locked On Nows are available wherever you get your podcasts. And thanks as always for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. But I want you to also check out Locked On Nows, their immediate reactions from all of our great hosts covering teams across Major League Baseball, to breaking news, to big storylines, to wins, to losses. And it's put all together in a nice package. So I know you watch mine on YouTube and listen to mine. But You can hear everything. It's a great way to get caught up. It's like a highlight reel of what went on around Major League Baseball, but not just the plays, the fans' reaction, which you can't get anywhere else. It's exclusively on the Locked On Network, but you can get it wherever you get your podcasts. That's Locked On Nows. And on the other side, we're going to do Off the Poll. All right, just to remind you what Off the Poll is. So on Fridays, or the last episode of the previous week, I put out a poll question at LO_Phillies on Twitter. I retweet it from my account right there at Connor Thomas 975. And I ask a poll question so that you can respond so I can get your feeling on one of the questions that I had about the Philadelphia Phillies from the previous week or just at the given time. It could be an overarching question. Well, this one takes a look at really the next month's worth of baseball games. And this Off the Poll question was, what would you prefer Joe Girardi to do over the next month's worth of games? Leave the lineup largely the same every game or continue to tinker till something clicks? I told you a little bit about my feelings on Friday's episode, and you all agreed with me. 68% of responders said keep the lineup the same, while only 32% said keep tinkering. That's the thing. Like, people get worked up about, oh, why is this guy batting in this spot? Or why is he hitting this average or anything like that? I just think consistency is key, even if it doesn't seem totally like it makes sense where these guys are batting right now. Like, to put Kyle Schwarber in the leadoff spot right now, batting just over 200, would seem crazy. But if you just leave him there and let him hit his way out, I'm okay with Joe Girardi doing something like that to keep consistency. I'm okay with him. If you're going to move JT Realmuto down in the lineup, okay, move him down, but keep him consistent so that he can work and work and work at hitting his way through. Here's the thing. This lineup is so talented that if you move JT Realmuto down, it's not like, oh man, we're missing his bat at the top here. No, you still have a Nick Castellanos, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins, Gene Segura. Like, there's still so many good hitters up there that you can afford to shift these guys around a little bit, as far as some of your better hitters being lower in the order than you'd expect them to be. But what I don't want is them shifting every single darn day, because Joe Girardi has been doing that, and some of it's because of injury. Some of it's because, like, Bryce Harper's unavailable because of the elbow thing, and Didi Gregorius gets hurt and stuff like that. No, leave it the same as much as possible. Rest days, you can obviously change stuff. Injuries, you obviously have to change stuff, but I'm with the 68% of you that said the same lineup. And to those of you who said keep tinkering, I get it. You want to see action from the manager. You want to see him trying new things. But for me, I think just letting it sit, this team is talented enough that they're going to start hitting out of slumps. The offense is going to get rolling again, and they'll be in better shape for doing that. So that's just where I stand. I'm just one man's opinion, but that's Off the Poll. So I appreciate the responses on that. And that's all I have for you for today's episode. I want to thank you, as always, for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, make sure you call him Sully. He knows baseball inside and out. Been talking about baseball for years, has great stories. He's a student of the game and of history of the game. And you can find it wherever you get your podcasts. So check out Locked On MLB with Sully, Paul Francis Sullivan. Again, that's all the time I've got for you guys for today. Thank you for listening and tuning in. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, please rate, review, subscribe. Throw me a like anywhere you get the podcast, 5-star reviews, everything like that. It really helps us continue to grow Locked On Phillies. But that's all I got for you tonight. And, well, hopefully the Phils can take advantage down in Atlanta of a Braves team not hitting that well and come away with a win. You can see my now later tonight for Locked On Nows. And I will talk to you all for another full episode tomorrow.